And now for the second part of our news briefing, we're going to get a further update on the latest COVID-19 situation in Korea, as well as the special quarantine guidelines announced today for the upcoming Chuseok holiday period. For that, we're going to connect with the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency. We have on the line now Mr. Choi Seung-ho, the agency's Deputy Director of Risk Communication. Thank you for speaking to us today.
Thank you for having me.
So yes, the country recently managed to curb the resurgence of infections that started around a month ago. However, we are facing another potential risk of infections rising again during the nation's biggest holiday, Chuseok. That's coming up next week. We'll get to those details about the special quarantine measures that have been announced today. But first, Mr. Chair, can you give us the KDCA's overall assessment of the current COVID-19 situation here in Korea?
Yes. As for the basic stance of the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency, we have just arrived a big wave of infections in Seoul in August. And we are seeing a stabilizing trend in the rise of confirmed cases for now. But given that several countries around the world are having an upsurge in confirmed cases, we can't be relaxed. We're still worried. And that's it.
Yes, especially with the percentage of cases with untraceable sources at a concerningly high percentage of 25%. We can't ease up yet. With that in mind, as we said, what's especially concerning is that the Chuseok holiday period is coming up next week. And despite the government's recommendations, many people are still expected to travel to their hometowns during that period. Can you tell us about the risks that the KDCA is concerned about during the 5-day holiday starting next Wednesday?
There's a higher risk of transmission during the Chuseok holiday. So we're asking people to stay home and refrain from traveling to meet your families and their families and relatives. We appreciate the ongoing efforts that people are making to use COVID-19 transmission by voluntarily participating in social distancing. But there's a risk that confirmed cases will increase because many people are likely to travel across the nation during the holiday. So we sincerely ask people to stay home during the holiday.
Right, but to also further tackle this issue, the government announced a special set of quarantine measures that are to be enforced from next Monday. Can you give us the details on that?
There are 4 major parts that I'd like to talk about the quarantine measures. First, inside gatherings of 50 people and outside gatherings of more than 100 are prohibited. And so, for example, places and events for gatherings such as exhibition expos, you are not allowed to enter and go to such places. And if you violate this gathering rule, fines of 3 million won or less will be imposed. And you will also fall into a situation where you have to pay for all the expenses for medical treatment and quarantine. And the second one is all sports events will be held online. So citizens are not allowed to enter sports stadiums. And the third one is when you visit multi-purpose facilities such as private crime schools, internet cafes, and public saunas, etc., you must wear a mask and fill in a visitor logbook. And regular ventilation and disinfection of such places are also required. And the fourth one is social welfare facilities and daycare centers will be closed. But immediate care service facilities will remain open for emergencies. And for the Seoul metropolitan area, stronger rules will be applied. Higher risk facilities such as bars, clubs, and will be closed, and door-to-door sales will be prohibited. And if you violate this rule, fines of 3 million won or less will be imposed, as I said before.
Right. So just to summarize, no gatherings of more than 50 people indoors and 100 people outdoors. Sports events will have no fans, will continue to have no fans. There are stricter quarantine measures for certain facilities like cram schools, and further facilities will also be closed. And also in this whole metropolitan area as well, higher risk facilities will have to be shut down during the next period as well.
Yes.
Yeah, so strict measures coming to force for the next 2 weeks then, starting Monday. And that sounds like the KDCA will continue to be on high alert during this period. And all staff and epidemiologists working with the KDCA will be remaining on hand then, working throughout the Chuseok period, right?
Yes, of course. Around more than 80 people will go to their offices to work during the holiday.
Right, so yes, I can imagine you will remain busy. So we appreciate all your efforts and we hope all these new measures will successfully lead to containing the spread of the virus during this period. We've been speaking to Choi Seung-ho from the Korea Disease Control and Prevention Agency. Thank you for speaking to us today.
Thank you.
여보세요?
네, 여보세요?
예, 사모님 수고하셨습니다.
예, 감사합니다.
예, 감사합니다. 다음에 좋은 기회로 또 모실게요.
예, 감사합니다.
예, 감사합니다. 수고하셨습니다.
예.